For the Wiz at 6, more and more people are saying Ace Bailey could get there. And I listened to Russillo's podcast, and he had the Rutgers coach on. And let's just all kind of give our thoughts on Ace Bailey. Undeniably gifted, 6'9", freshman, average 19 points per game, can get to the rack. He's just this the prototypical NBA wing, I would say, just like big, long, athletic, can do it all. But this, to me, as a draft pick, is purely on potential. Like, you don't know what he is yet. And one thing that's been weird, so I listened to an interview with Ace Bailey's college coach from Rutgers. He said, love him, great kid. You know, he's going to be a part of this thing for a long time. And his college coach said all the right things about him. But the other part of this that we know is Ace Bailey's refusing to take any of these pre-draft workouts. As of now, Bailey has declined workouts from the Sixers, the Hornets, and Utah. Like, just said, hey, I'm not coming, right? And those are the teams in front of Washington. There's some, I guess, belief that, like, he wants to be in D.C. I think, based on what I've read, is that he wants minutes. He wants to be able to get shots right away. And I guess in D.C., he can do that. Russillo, who's like a foremost NBA expert, I would say, says that Bailey kind of chose sketchy representation. I guess his agent is a dude without much, without a lot of like other clients. And I think you can kind of see maybe some, I don't know, maybe just inexperience in how they're handling Ace Bailey's pre-draft workout. White Brian, who is it? I guess you know who it is, the agent?
It's Sharif Cooper's dad, former Auburn Tiger. War Eagle.
How many clients does this dude have?
I believe it's just Sharif Cooper.
That gives me a little pause. Like, what is Ace Bailey's relationship to Sharif Cooper or Mr. Cooper? Are they like
I gotta
related?
imagine they are friendly. I don't know the direct relationship.
It seems like there's some inexperience, because even if you maybe don't want to get drafted by the Sixers or something, the more interest you can create in you being drafted 3rd overall or 4th overall, the better it is for you.
Yeah, and this isn't a case like I just saw that there was a kid that had been flying all around the country to do workouts, and he just tore his Achilles. Now, he was like the 63rd ranked prospect according to ESPN or something like that. I can't remember exactly, but he was probably a 2nd-round guy. At best, he sneaks his way back into the end of the 1st round. And that's a little bit different than this case where, you know, for that one, he's trying to drum up any interest at all in any team, saying, please draft me. Ace Bailey's getting drafted in the 1st round. You don't know where yet. I mean, consensus was, JP, when this whole situation started, it was going to be Cooper Flagg 1, either Ace Bailey or Dylan Harper 2, and then the other goes 3. And now it's looking like, because of the situation going on, also, it's not just him skipping workouts. It's the fact that he was thought to be 6'10", JP. He was thought to be this super long wing that would be Kevin Durant-esque, right, in terms of that height. And he's now measured in at like 6'7.5", which you act like it's not that big of a deal, but there are a lot of 6'7", 6'8" wings that can go out there and get a bucket. Not as many 6'10", 6'11" guys that can go get a bucket like he can. So that kind of dinged him a little bit. Then also you have this situation. I don't know. He's intriguing. To me, if I were drafting 3rd overall, if I were the 76ers, I wouldn't take him. I think there's too much risk there. But when you look at the guys that are probably going to get taken ahead of him, if he falls to 6, like VJ Edgecombe, I would take ahead of him. Obviously, the top 2 in Harper and Flagg, I'd take ahead of him. I think I would take him ahead of Maluach. I think there's a real discussion to be had of whether you would take Ace Bailey or Trey Johnson, depending upon what you want. Trey Johnson is a very athletic, good scoring 2 guard, or do you want to go?
Fill it up.
Or do you want the Ace Bailey, who maybe is a little bit more difficult to find? But I think Ace Bailey, I understand why they want him to play, because I think he has to work on his game a lot, because the thing that he specializes in is something that a lot of NBA teams don't focus on anymore, which is a lot of dribble, pull up, mid-range jump shots. And he did that a lot at Rutgers, and he knocked down a lot of difficult ones. But I don't want to live on that. And I don't want to live on a guy always taking contested jumpers, because generally that means he's not creating separation or getting to the bucket. And I don't think his handle's particularly great. But in terms of ceiling, for guys that you could get at 6 if he falls there, I think you got to take a shot.
I think I'd rather have Knipple. You'd rather take Bailey in the upside than Knipple.
I think so. I think Knipple definitely has the higher floor. Like, he can step in and he's going to be a solid role player. And if he hits his ceiling, he can be maybe a really, really good role player. Do you see star potential in Knipple?
No, but I think he'll be the second best player on a team that wins titles.
Sure. Okay. I just don't see star potential in Knipple. And I see potential stardom in Ace Bailey. Now, it's going to take a lot of work to get there. So if you want to say, I'd rather bet on the more sure thing, then that's fine. But I think the thing that the Wizards are missing is they've got a lot of guys that could probably play into being solid role players. They're lacking the star. So I think you got to shoot for the stars in this case, especially considering you can probably find another guy next year that can fit the role player role if you don't end up with the first pick again if you get screwed. The idea is hopefully next year you're getting the number 1 pick.
I hear that, and I don't know that he showed us anything last year to think he's a star, but they just drafted a kid number 2 overall. Shouldn't that be your future star?
I mean, ideally, but then that was the whole discussion about how, of course, the Wizards get the number 2 pick in a draft where it's a draft that isn't thought to have any really star players, right? So I think that Alex Sarr can be that, but I think that's why you make that sort of a pick with Sarr too. Unique body type, unique style of play, can get up and down the floor as a 7-footer, block shots. He worked on his game, and if you want to dream as a Wizards fan, go back and look at what Alex Sarr did in December. If he can get close to what he did in the month of December, then you could be looking at a star player. I think you saw as the season went on, he got better. I think Ace Bailey, though, I wouldn't take him at 3, but there's not many guys that at 6, assuming Edgecombe, Flagg, and Harper are gone, I think he's probably my 4th or 5th guy just because of the upside that you could get there. You have to work on some of the maturity of his game, I think, and you have to work with him on understanding what a good shot selection is. I think you got to work on his handle. I think you got to work a little bit on his ability to get to the rim. But what NBA prospect doesn't have some things you got to work on? And his ceiling, if you can iron out some of those flaws, I think is just as high as just about anybody in this draft.
Jeff, where you at on Bailey?
I don't mind him, JP. It's just if he come here with the roster that we have, we need a guy that's going to put in the effort. That's all. Because I'm not going to lie, JP. I was so sold on us getting the first pick, and with Cooper Flagg, I was like, I'm speaking it into existence. Now it's like, okay, we didn't get who I wanted. Now the next player.
I was also real in on Dylan Harper. I think.
Yeah.
Like, you guys don't remember Ron Harper, and I only remember, like, late in his career when he was the point guard on the second three-peat for the Bulls. But he was a dog, dude. And I just, like, I buy that stock. I just – are you impacted with Bailey at all, with all the stuff? Like, not his shot selection or his handle, but, like, why are you not taking these visits? Why are you trying to control where you go? Maybe that's just young players. They feel emboldened and they can control it. I don't know.
Yeah, my thing is, look, if you want to go somewhere and you don't make it there, now the team that you have been drafted to, you got to play. I look at it, even though this would be better for B to weigh on, but I look at it like this. If you're a person trying to manipulate where you land professionally, if you don't land that place, now your job has then become 2 times harder, because you really can't have an off game, because people going to look at, oh, well, he didn't want to be here. Is that the reason why he playing like this? And God forbid he come in and stink it up, because, it takes some time to adjust into the NBA. That's why there's a G League. Well, that's why they're development leagues in all sports. But he has a tougher job coming in now that he's trying to manipulate it. My thing is, I don't care about all of that. I like I said, I care about the effort. Wherever you land, if you land in Washington, if you're here, you better play like this the team you wanted to play for.
We need dogs. We need canines, as the great Doc Walker said.